Okay, we're recording and we're live, so that's wonderful. So Libby and Peter Paul, thank you so much for being here to discuss crowdfunding platforms and how they can enable impact investing. So before we jump in, I would really love for you to introduce yourself and maybe Libby, ladies first. If you're okay with that, you can you can start.
Of course. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. Be happy to be a part of the conversation. So, yeah, I'm Libi Berenson. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Genies, which is a social gifting platform, technology platform for families in need, where donors and the public can give products and service directly to families anonymously. And so that's what I do right now. And we are crowdfunding on FrontFunder. So happy to talk about how our experience was so far. Happy to be here.
That's great. And I have a quick follow-up question, actually, Libby. So what gave you the idea of starting that platform? Because I obviously went, check it out. I thought it was pretty awesome. So obviously you saw a need and you got going.
Yeah, 100%. So we actually started Genies about 3.5 years ago after my youngest son, Leo, was born. And we had a small baby party in times where people could actually party together. And so we actually received the same gift 4 times, which was a great gift, but I felt really bad for people spending time and money on that, where we actually needed necessities for the baby. And we didn't feel comfortable asking people for that. So it started as an idea for the public, for kids, families, and friends. But then really fast, we understood that there's a huge need in the nonprofit space. And of course, we're really value driven. We wanted to add more value with the platform that we created. And so in October 19, we actually pivoted completely only to the social impact space because we saw that it's closing a lot of gaps for nonprofits and especially for families around us.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to hearing your experience and how you think there is a nice link with impact investing. Peter Paul, would you like to jump in and tell us a bit more about you and FrontFunder?
Sure. Thanks, Peggy, and thanks for having me today. So yeah, my name is Peter Paul Hoeken, founder CEO of FrontFunder. So FrontFunder, we basically created a fully online, so digitized platform that connects companies, typically early stage startup companies like Genies, and as well as later stage growth companies, with the wider investor community, with the emphasis on wider, meaning that anyone really can invest in these companies through FrontFunder. And so traditionally, of course, investing in early stage companies was typically for family, friends, angel investors, sometimes VCs, but not for the wider investor community. So we're essentially opened it up and provide anyone that's interested to invest in, promising companies that they like to see succeed, to participate and invest from as little as $500 to any larger, 50,000, 100,000. So it's really for an inclusive market, providing access for investors to invest in companies from the very beginning, and for companies to reach out essentially to the public to raise capital for their company. FrontFunder operates from coast to coast in Canada. I think it's fair to say we've been sort of pioneering this space here in Canada and build the entire infrastructure with our technology platform, as well as our dealer registration. We're operating as a so-called exempt market dealer, so we're supervised by the Canadian securities regulators, and that enables us to really operate in a compliant way and help companies get funded and invite the public to be part of that.
Thank you very much, Peter Paul. So really, it's this idea of being in the middle, facilitating investments from retail investors into companies, and for companies like Libby's company to raise money. So one thing that I'm very excited to hear your thoughts on is why actually crowd equity platforms play a role in impact investing, and your experience with that, because we don't really see usually crowd equity platform as a key player in impact investing, which I think is a bit of a miss. So Libi, I would love to hear your perspective, as you actually almost have two hats, but as a client, or as a company that posted on FrontFunder.
Yeah, and you know what, for us, it was a natural decision when we started thinking about external funding, because we were completely self-funded so far. It was a natural decision for us to see how can we involve the community and the public in impacting the work that we do. I think especially for impact investing, people are more conscious right now of the decisions that they're making and how they financially set them up for success, but how it also can impact the community around them. And so for us, it was a natural, really win-win-win for everyone to use crowdfunding platforms like FrontFunder, which, by the way, even Peter, Paul, don't listen to what I'm saying right now, but the experience was fantastic so far with the team. Honestly, we really love working with them. It was a really great way to involve them in making decisions that are influencing and valuable for others in their area. And so that I think it's kind of setting the future of how we can impact. Even if we're not building businesses ourselves in the community, we can actually invest in businesses that are making great decisions and adding value to people around us.
Thank you, Libi. And I think, this concept of responsible consumer, but also responsible investor is key in what you're discussing, because the people on the platform who invested in your company, or even just see the listing, might become your future user. It's a good marketing tool at the same time.
Exactly, and that was a really interesting kind of eye-opening experience for us, because investors are not only want to be part of the business and taking ownership of it, they're actually becoming our advocates and our ambassadors in the public, especially because everyone, for us, we see so many people around us that are volunteering, that are trying to help others. And so for them, that's kind of the next step for them to take and be ambassadors for something that is really great and they can be a part of. So it's really building a community around us as well at the same time.
And one of the questions I have for you as well is, did you try to raise money? And I guess you were raising equity for your companies to fuel the growth. Did you try to raise money by other means, obviously business angels group or VCs, that type of thing? What was your strategy? Did you think that it was difficult with your business model to resonate with traditional investor? That's why you went to a platform, or is it a complement in your raising strategy?
Interesting question. So we were not raising before that. So FrontFunder was actually the first big step for us and the founding round. So we didn't do any efforts before that. So the decision was to kick it off with FrontFunder.
Okay.
But what the interesting part around it was, it actually allowed us to create credibility for us as a business, to make sure that angels and people that want to be involved on a bigger scale knows that we went through the diligence. They see the links, they see all the business elements that we had to prepare for the launch. And so it actually helped us attract bigger types of investors by doing that round for the public. So it was an interesting experience.
Very, very interesting. Peter, Paul, from your perspective, could you also give us some insights on why you think platform like FrontFunder play an important role in impact investing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and first of all, Libi, it's great to hear that your experience on the platform so far has been good. It's as because we're really building this. Not only a company like Libi is and many others are, but we also sort of building this company, this whole market, because the whole idea of raising capital through online and open it up to the public is still in its sort of infancy here in Canada. It's a fast growing market, and from our perspective, and Libi made some great points with regards to the fact that raising capital online through investment crowdfunding is, of course, a means to raise funding, but it's also an opportunity to create awareness and literally indeed have investors in your company that also become your advocates, your brand ambassador. So it's almost like not almost, it is actually a combined effort of raising capital, so getting funding, as well as promoting and marketing your company. Now, with regards to impact investing, our experience, and we've done over close to 70 deals now through the platform, is that companies that have an easy to understand products and service, so consumer goods, as well as impact investing, companies that literally are purpose driven, that have the opportunity to change the world for the better, they typically raise interest from the general public, because those are the companies that we all know that we have a big job to do in terms of our environment, creating social impact, and now anyone can literally be part of that and drive that by investing in these companies. And so I believe that, as the impact investing agenda, and we see larger institutional investors, paying more attention to it and investing in it, but there's a big opportunity for the general public as well to drive that. And in fact, by driving companies and investing in these companies, that also sends out a signal to all of us, like, hey, these are the kind of companies that we like to see more of. And so from our perspective, from a front runner perspective, we see this as an opportunity to help these companies raise capital, as mentioned, but as well to raise awareness about their purpose, what are they doing, and to make the general public part of that.
Yeah, thank you, Peter Paul. Yeah, I think to your point, having investors, retail investor who can invest as little as $500 is very important to democratize access, and also you vote with your feet when you vote.
That's right.
When you invest in a company like Libi, you're sending a message. Libi, I would love if you could give us a bit more insight on your business model, because it's a very, very interesting business model that, to your point, was well made, I would say, for raising through a platform. So if you can give us a few words.
Sure. So the affiliate model is definitely a revenue model that exists out there, but was never utilized in a way that we're leveraging it. And so what happens on Genies is, yes, we're working with nonprofit organizations, and the reason we work with them is so that they can vet and choose families in need. So not everyone in the public could get on Genies and create a wish list. Mm-hmm. But then anybody in the public can go and look at these wish lists and purchase any product or service, and it sends directly to the family. But in the background, we're actually working with retailers and service providers to present their products and services in the app. And so our model is an affiliate model for these retailer providers, which, yes, we have Amazon as well integrated, which gives us the variety of products, but we also have 6 amazing women-owned Canadian businesses integrated, and we're really growing on that part as well. By the way, ecological businesses. So their products are presented in the app for the families to list, and then donors can actually purchase them with growing the side of the business as well. And so it's creating that win-win-win for all three parties, where it's not only a donation, it's a donation that helps other local businesses grow their market as well.
Well, and that's very important that you mentioned, this idea of supporting small business, especially right now in the situation where we're in. And again, back to this responsible consumer voting with your feet, having the products coming from this type of organization, back to your win-win-win. I mean, that's a glorious idea.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's the way that we're gonna continue growing. We want to integrate with more and more partners that are also, we're vetting them based on their responsibilities to the environment and the future that they're building. So we're really happy to provide them the opportunity to present their products for somebody that really needs it on a day-to-day.
That's great. And I guess the non-profit you're working on the other side of the fence are also, I would say, Canadian-wide type organization from coast to coast.
Yes, we do have non-profit organizations in Toronto and Calgary and Vancouver. We started in Vancouver, so definitely in Vancouver we have the biggest presence so far. But yeah, for example, we did a great toy market event last year in the holiday season for a Toronto company or Toronto nonprofits called Young Street Mission.
Oh, yes.
So we were able to, and we were able to support over 250 families with that. So
that's
exciting.
Wonderful. Really, I love this use of technology in that context. And it's a bit like what you're saying, Peter Paul. It's also using technology. You're regulated, which is obviously a good thing for investors to have that vetting while actually supporting businesses that do good. I think we need more business model where you do well, you do good, and it's win-win-win. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Peter Paul. So you mentioned you had more than 70 deals on the platform so far. What would be a couple of other business models that are, interesting and really aligned with this impact investing thesis?
Sure, yeah, and we've seen a number throughout the years on our platform, and an example of an impact investing company is a company that's focused on plant-based protein. So it's basically, in the general market developments towards plant-based protein as an alternative. And so this company, called The Very Good Food Company, they raised on FrontFunder in their early days. So this is a really great example of an opportunity to invest in a company from the pretty much the very beginning. And so they raised in end of 2017 through FrontFunder. They raised over around $600,000 through the platform, and which enabled them to grow and did subsequent rounds, and they actually also went public on one of Canada's stock exchanges, which was a great example of a company that sort of went through the financing cycle, enabled early investors to invest for as little. I think that minimum for their raise was even $250, and to drive that company. So investors say, hey, I see potential in this company, but I also believe this company is, working on offering an alternative for with plant-based protein, and had a successful exit. So investors that saw a return of 30 times their investment. Now that those are, of course, it's also a great example because it doesn't happen every day, but it's a great example of a company that literally raised from the very beginning. They had over around, I believe, through FrontFunder over 400 investors, and even later offered them an opportunity to to liquidate their investment. So that's a great example. We've done other raises for a company, RA Royalties. They're in the project financing of smaller renewable energy projects, and they raise on our platform. They actually done several raises on our platform, which is actually a sort of a bond. So it wasn't straight equity in the company, but basically a bond. And so another opportunity for investors to invest in this case, in renewable energy projects through a company like our royalties. So those are two examples of clearly of impact driven companies that use investment crowdfunding to raise capital and create awareness and invite everybody basically to be part of it.
Well, and that's very interesting. You mentioned the fact that it's equity, but it's debt as well. So for some for some businesses, debt, depending on your I would say growth profile and maturity, debt is also a good option. So that's very interesting. I actually, and Peter Paul, obviously, you know that I was an early investor, not only in Crowdfunding, but also in a company that listed on Crowdfunding many years ago. That's called Impact Finance, and that company is actually a scoring agency that score impact. So, for example, if you are Société Générale and you want your portfolio manager to not only look at financial returns, but also at the impact of different companies, well, that's what Impact Finance does. And I know the first raise they did with Crowdfunding many years ago. So.
And actually, just to your point, Peggy, and that's sometimes why I refer to investment crowdfunding rather than equity crowdfunding, because it is indeed not necessarily always equity, right? It could indeed be, debt. It could be, convertible notes, which is kind of debt, but can be converted into equity later on, right? So we can basically support any kind of product or capital raising structure as long as they qualify basically as securities. Another great example, by the way, is TipTap, company that raised, this was about 2 months ago, raised through our platform. And TipTap basically provides literally sort of a technology and a little device that can be used to make donations. And so Salvation Army, for example, is using that. You can now, the Walmart, I used it the other day. So that's a great example, because what is always, you have these donations. So, well, I don't have cash, how do I do this? And so they developed this device. You can very easily take your card out, to tap, and you can say $5 or $2.50 or whatever the amount is, and tap, and you donate it. So that's another example, great example of a purpose-driven company, and again, opening it up for everyone through Crowdfunding to invest in the company. So
thank you, Peter Paul. And I realize we were almost out of time. These conversations always go so fast. So Libi, at first, I'd love to hear some of your parting thoughts, but I would also love for you to maybe mention if there are things you're looking for to make your business model even more successful. We're going to post the audio on LinkedIn, on YouTube. We're going to hopefully reach out to people who will be happy to help you. So anything you want to share?
First of all, the exciting news that we're now 123% of our raising.
Oh, congrats.
So we definitely kind of created a great opportunity there. And so we're going to continue. We have 29 days to go. So things can also change for the better, even more than that. And so a couple things. I guess one thing is, with Genie specifically, there are 3 things that are really helpful for us to move the business forward. One is the nonprofit side. Of course, we want to include great nonprofits on the platform. We have over 20 already. The public, involving the public and corporate donors into what we're trying to create. and creating 100% of their donation to go to families in need and organizations. So that's what's happening on a platform. But as I said, in the background, we have local partnerships, which I would love to have an opportunity to connect with more and more. So, and I noted some of them. For example, Joni is a partner on Genies as well, and Joni is crowdfunding as well on FrontFunder. So that FrontFunder allows us to create bigger relationships, which is really amazing to see. So I do want to invite everyone to be able to go into FrontFunder, see what opportunities out there, be involved in Genies, of course, as we're ramping up the crowdfunding side. And last 29 days to go. So
move fast.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Libi, and good luck. And I'm very happy you're already way above your target so early in the game. That's a good testament to a great business model. So you should take the credit and tap yourself on the back. Peter Paul, any parting thoughts on the topic?
Well, first of all, big congrats to Libi. It's great to see, how Genie's now exceeding their target. So all I can say is better hurry up and indeed check out their race on FrontFunder. So that's first. Secondly, generally, parting thoughts from my end. It's we're on an exciting mission with opening up capital raising to the public. We've seen really significant growth even in the last 6 to 9 months, and I would say that the pandemic has definitely been a sort of a catalyst for of course the funding investment process moving online. And also when we look at other geographies, we know where this is going, and this is really the future to create. You use the word, Peggy, democratize investing, make it inclusive for all groups of entrepreneurs and investors, and for example, through FrontFunder, we're also actively advocating, diversity and helping female entrepreneurs that, as you may know, are still only tapping really less than 3% of total VC money out there. So we are really, our mission, and we see ourselves also as a purpose-driven company, is to really, democratize it, open it up, and for on both sides of the marketplace, and providing all entrepreneurs better access to capital, as well as all investors to be part of that.
Thank you, Peter Paul, and thank you. You're absolutely right. We didn't speak about the diversity angle and the fact that actually, in terms of proportion, you give a lot of opportunities for female and entrepreneur of color to access investor, which we know with VC has been very, very difficult. So that's also an angle that is important to mention. So Libi, Peter Paul, thank you so much for taking the time. It was a great conversation, and wishing both of you a lot of luck with your business model and a lot of success.
Thank you. Thanks, Peggy.
Thanks, Peggy.
Thank you.